We are delighted now to be joined by the city manager of the city of Birmingham, Joseph Valentine. Mr. Valentine, good to have you back with us here in the MegaCast.
Thank you for having me.
So it's a pretty good day. The restaurants and retail is going to open up and an awful lot more. Stay-at-home order has been rescinded. Your thoughts?
Yeah, good news from Lansing. I think it re-engages our communities. We just have to find ways to do it safely, and I know some of the restaurants are already planning to make that happen. So it's a lot to look forward to in the coming week as restaurants and retailers start to reopen here in Michigan.
Well, it is going to be really great news, and we look forward to, I got to tell you, I mean, I drive through Birmingham virtually every day, and I'm just thinking about the places that I used to go to get a bite to eat or maybe a cocktail after work and some shopping, and really looking forward to spending some time at downtown Birmingham again.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, and that's the environment we're trying to promote here. So we've done what we can initially to try to help with some of the carry-out offerings. And now that these restaurants are able to open, we're hopeful that some of the on-street dining that you're used to, you'll see replicated in a little bit modified fashion this summer, and hopefully everyone will come back out and enjoy their favorite restaurants and dining experiences here in Birmingham.
So as one of the many Michiganders who has a place up north, I've been able to get up there on the weekends and go to Traverse City and Charlevoix and Petoskey and see what they're doing there. Some of them have limited parking in the streets and opened up sidewalks to a greater extent. People seem to want to be able to get outside and dine where they can. Are you working on any special accommodations in Birmingham?
So our initial effort was to put out some streetscape furniture outside the restaurants that were doing the carry-out service to give people an opportunity to sit down while they're waiting for their carryout and make it a little bit more appealing. Going forward, as the regulations with the LCC have been modified, we're looking at expanding some of the outdoor dining opportunities that we currently provide in downtown Birmingham. And then with pending legislation in Lansing on social districts to create drinking areas in designated locations within communities to allow businesses to expand into those spaces, we're eager to see how that plays out. So we're looking at all options at this point. We're working with our restaurant community, particularly trying to find ways to accommodate their needs. So it's all on the table at this point.
City Manager Valentine, I love doing the show and talking to folks like you because I learn things that I don't see reported in the media. Let's go back and rewind just a little bit. Can you tell us a little bit about what the Liquor Commission in the state is doing to consider new rules that'll open things up in the way you alluded to?
Yeah, so previously the regulations with the Liquor Control Commission regulated how far you could go outside your business to sell alcohol. And we have obviously outdoor dining platforms in downtown Birmingham that allow for that liquor to be transported from the business to the outdoor dining area. And recently the Liquor Control Commission relaxed those requirements to allow for some areas that were further away from the frontages of those businesses, those restaurants, to expand the capacity of those restaurants to allow for some of the offset of the requirements for being closed on the inside. Going forward, we're starting to see some additional, like I said, action in Lansing that are going to allow for even further distancing and allow for that license to be used off-site into other locations in the community in these districts. So there's really an opportunity now to work with our business community and find ways that serve them the best way that can benefit them with these various options. And having the support of the Liquor Control Commission is a big help in doing that.
So I know you can't speak for all the elected officials in Birmingham, but do you think there's a willingness in Birmingham to open that up and allow a little bit more activity outside of the establishments? And I'm sure it's not just for alcohol, but for food and other social activities in downtown Birmingham.
Yeah, I think there's a large support of our business base here in Birmingham. And the idea to try to support them in any way we can to make them successful during this summer is something that's been previously supported with initiatives that my staff and I have brought forward to them to consider how to make life a little bit easier in this new environment. Those recommendations were supported unanimously, and they basically asked, what else can we be doing to support our community? And now we're working on those additional efforts.
Well, I think it's great, and it sounds, just from a consumer standpoint, like a lot of fun, a nice way to enjoy downtown Birmingham and open things up. And I assume the retailers, too, will they also be able to use some of the sidewalk areas and an additional space in front of their businesses?
Yeah, we have relaxed our requirements for on-street usage, allowing them to maybe put some promotions outside, some additional signage on the windows, some tents out in the public right of way, doing things that make it easier for people to patronize their businesses that normally maybe wouldn't be allowed. But in this environment, we're relaxing our requirements to allow them to be more customer friendly and comply with the regulations that are in place with regard to social distancing and occupancy within buildings, and trying to make the business climate here as easy as we can.
Joseph Valentine, the city manager of the city of Birmingham, joining us. Do you see the same thing happening in Rochester, in Farmington, and Novi, Northville, Ferndale, Royal Oak, the other communities that have these beautiful, quaint downtowns in Metro Detroit?
Yeah, a lot of the communities that have the unique elements that we have are doing similar things, trying to find ways to utilize the space that you have in a way that allows these businesses to continue to operate. Because under the prior regulations, there wasn't a lot of allowance for them to expand outside their business. Now that those opportunities exist, these businesses are working with the communities to find ways that meet their needs as specific as possible. So not everybody has the same condition. So not everybody, I can't close every street in Birmingham that has a restaurant on it to accommodate that restaurant, but I can do other things that allow for them to be more effective in serving their patrons and giving them more space, giving the 50% occupancy that they're limited to currently. So each community, I think, is following the framework that's been established, but doing things a little bit different based on how their community is set up and what street parameters they're working with and the uniqueness from each community.
Well, I got to say, it's going to be nice to be able to go into Starbucks at Woodward and 15 and sit down with a friendly neighbor or business associate and have a cup of coffee next week.
Well, that's a big part of this, is that socialization that I think people have been missing for the last 2.5, 3 months, that they can now regain and do so in a safe fashion to kind of relive their lives. So we're excited to see what comes here in the coming months.
All right, well, I'm going to be in Sylvan Lake on Monday for the opening at a restaurant there, but I would like to, if you don't mind, we'll follow up with you or some of your businesses in Birmingham and come out and bring our microphones and do the show live in Birmingham one day next week.
That would be great.
All right. Thank you, Joe Valentine. Anything else you want to add that people should know today?
Just to hit that tune again, that obviously businesses here are opening up, and we encourage everybody to make a visit to downtown Birmingham and patronize your favorite restaurant, retailer, business. We're open here, and we encourage everybody to stop by.
You know, I'm so happy about that news. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you this after just getting off the phone with the folks in Troy and Sergeant Lehman in the Troy Police Department. Clearly, suburbia is not insulated from the news of the day, and I'm sure the police department in your community is keeping a very close eye on everything that's going on.
Well, everybody encourages the public to ensure that they're practicing their First Amendment rights, which they have the right to do. We just want everybody to do it safely. We don't want anybody getting hurt. It's important that they do that. And to the extent that these activities have been happening recently in our community and neighboring communities, we're happy to see that people have done them peacefully, and we're proud of that.
All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Good to talk to you, and maybe we'll get a chance to have that cup of coffee together one of these days soon.
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
All right, very good. He is the city manager of Birmingham, Joseph Valentine, joining us via Zoom here on the show.